Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. And yeah, it has been a while. Nothing serious. It was just like there were no books. There were no books, and work has been it's been work. It's been terrible. I haven't actually even had time to shave. It's kind of terrible. But we finally got at least two books out and one special one. And yeah, we're just gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So our first book is actually one that's not new, but it really got affordable and worth the price. It's Black Adam and the Justice Society of America files. So, if you had seen the Black Adam movie, how'd you feel? I felt kind of indifferent to it. I'm like, okay, sure, but this is what we were waiting for all this time. This is the big project. This felt like this should have been the first movie of the DC universe. Like before Superman, do Black Adam and set up like the concept of superheroes. We could have easily done that. Give like a Black Adam origin story, or even actually do Black Adam, set it so that he comes back just in time for World War II or World War One, whichever one. We're gonna bring the JSA in for that, and we just roll with it, yeah? Huh? Made better sense, didn't it? Didn't it? And then Black Adam gets locked up, and during this event, the JSA disbands. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Chef's kiss. But they didn't do that. They went with this route, and I don't know. But anyway, to sort of promote that movie, they did the JSA files. All right, and the JSA files were these single one-shot issues put out to promote other members of the members of the JSA we see in the movie. The Atom Smasher, Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and Cyclone. All right, Cyclone, who was originally a white girl who they recast as a black girl because that's what Hollywood does with their redheads. They make them black. Whatever. And honestly, this thing is kind of forgettable. This whole thing is kind of forgettable. But I felt like it was still worth looking into to see exactly where it went wrong. Because ultimately, I think the JSA were the best part of the Black Adam movie. They didn't make any sense as to why they were there. This number of four made no sense in itself. There's more than four members of the JSA. And I don't think there's ever been just four members of the JSA. But yeah. Also, I don't think this iteration never happened. Like, there was never a second generation of this. Whatever. So the first story is about Hawkman. And honestly, this story sort of points out that there's a problem with Hawkman in that they don't quite know which Hawkman this is. Is this Qatar Hall? Is he aware of Thanagar? Or is he just like a dude with a suit, like made of nth metal, and he's like an archaeologist, which is sort of Hawkman in a nutshell. He is an archaeologist. But the problem with all of this is I don't quite get it. And this issue sort of takes the time to show the nth metal, the bird theme, sort of Carter's double life, which they don't really go into. Like, is the dude who's calling him his partner, is this Carter gay, bisexual? Like, this thing that wouldn't matter, but I just need it to be. I need them to make up their mind as to exactly what this is. And at an art exhibit or a museum thing, there's a burglary. The burglary goes boop, boop, ba-doop wrong. Also, I think this dude is working for Intergang. So we're trying to link Intergang to all of this. And the dude dies, and he's met by these... looks like the Court of Owls in one panel, but then it's just a giant, I guess, Captain Falcon? No, it's Red Falcon. Oh, someone called Blue Falcon and Dynamite. But anyway, he's like, dude, I need you to mess up Hawkman. Can you do that for me? You're like, yeah, I hate Hawkman right now. He's the reason I'm dead. And this leads to the creation of the Gentleman Ghost, who is a Hawkman and JSA enemy. But this story makes him purely a Hawkman enemy. It's weird. And he possesses Carter. Well, he traps Carter somewhere. Then he threatens to kill Carter's, I guess, friends. Like, they never explain who these people are. Are they just passerbys? Hawkman muscles his way through, which is very Hawkman. And, yeah. He kills the dude, or kills the ghost, and he realizes that Dr. Fate may be connected to the rest of this. Ultimately kind of dull. Cyclone one was actually a bit better, but it also lacked a problem. I like the fact that Maxine's character sort of grew up idolizing the JSA and Hawkman especially, and both Hawkman and Dr. Fate. So I did like that. But they also just, once again, offhandedly mentioned, oh yeah, I had nanites put inside me by a mad scientist. I'm like, Shouldn't that be the story? Shouldn't we find out about the mad scientist? We don't. All right. But to be fair, this is the origin of her as a hero. She sees um, what appears to be a issue with the police, with a mutant, duty mutated, and this sort of makes her put herself out there to save the people and to help out. And that is a good scene, to be sure. The sort of moment that defines a hero is, putting yourself out there when there's no real benefit to you. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. I think Static Shock actually had a very good moment in this. Actually, that might be something I want to talk about. One moment in comics. Ooh, that sounds really cool. Put a pin in that, guys. So she goes in, uses her powers to help out, but the downside is she's kind of exposed herself to the public that she has powers. She's met by Hawkman, who's like, hey, that was kind of cool what you did. You're taking your first step. How far you want to go with it? And she, like, rightfully, like, freaked out, scared. Like, I don't know. Even though it was a dream as a kid, she's grown up. She's seen a bit of the world. She's aware of, what comes from that. So, is this after the events of Dawn of Justice or the Snyder Cut? I don't know. Then we cut to to Atom Smasher. And what I liked about Atom Smasher, despite the fact I cannot remember his name, I'm going to call him Hank. Hank is very eager to sort of go out there and be a hero. He's got the same powers and whatnot. So he wants to go out there and he wants to try to... I believe this whole thing, the entire story for the most part, is showing that Intergang has, infiltrated other sources, not just in Kahndaq, but other places of the world. And so with the semi-blessing from his uncle, he goes in and he sort of realizes how in over his head he is, and he's mostly just doing this by the seat of his pants. Timing his powers as best he can to avoid a fall, which I thought was really cool. Like, as he falls, he gets bigger, thereby, reducing the impact. That was cool. But now he's, like, basically naked, going through. And you get big enough, bullets don't work. That's not even a nitpick. Makes sense to me. And ultimately, that story ended with him getting a message from his uncle, like, hey, dude, Carter wants to talk to you. And then we cut to Dr. Fate. And Dr. Fate's story is pretty much just him recounting who he is, the battles he's fought, what he sort of serves as. Really, there's not much difference between Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange, except the Sorcerer Supreme is sort of like can be passed down from one Sorcerer Supreme to the next. The helmet chooses who becomes the next Dr. Fate. So there's that. And here he's finding a bunch of stupid kids who found a skeleton in an old abandoned house and try to use black magic to wake it up, and all hell ensues. Because of course it does. And it's the ginger. There you go. Good times. So, I love this image. It's great. So, Dr. Fate comes in. He like, hey, skeleton dude, what's going on? And... yeah, demon possession, a fight. I think this really is the ultimate problem with this entire story. There's a lack of substance to anything. I think this would have been better as had we gone with the Cyclone Kid and Atom Smasher route and sort of have those two sort of trying to be something onto the JSA and that new legacy. But, we didn't go that route. Whatever. Ultimately, this story is just boring. Like, it looks like a lot's happening. But the downside of a prequel one-shot is nothing can happen that's going to really impact the story. Maybe you'll come at it with a new perspective, but the fact that Dr. Fate knew the whole time what was going to happen doesn't change the fact that in the Black Adam movie, Dr. Fate knew the whole time what was going to happen. So, yeah, ultimately, like the movie, this is a waste of time, but at least the JSA is shown in a better light. There was another issue involving the archaeologist girl and Black Adam's history, and all of it was just even more boring. Like, this is lacking a direction. These one-shots, like, I get it. A one-shot does not automatically need to connect to every other one-shot, but it should have a sort of set tone. Cyclone and Atom Smasher stories had the same sort of vibe. But we're sort of lacking an extra kick. The connection of Intergang, I think, works out, but then you come to Hawkman and Dr. Fate, and their story is just sort of like, we're setting up the movie. And like, we're already here for the movie. All right? And it is the thing. They're together because Amanda Waller called them together. Amanda Waller's not in this. So whatever vision they had made no sense. Also, this story never mentions Amanda Waller. Again, This should have taken place in World War II, World War I, whichever one you want to pick. They find Black Adam, and boop, boop, a doop. This leads to the disillusionment of the JSA. You know, that adventure, the whatnot. Something horrible happened. They had to release Black Adam. They had to lock up Black Adam. Black Adam is away somewhere. That's why he's not there. The superhero community is too in tatters. You could actually, you could use the idea. They disbanded. Then, after the death of Superman in Dawn of Justice, and during the events of Justice League, whether it be the Whedon cut or the Sweet Snyder cut, you have this story, and you can tell in between of Cyclone and Atom Smasher sort of finding their courage, the Superman's example, and they fight off the parademons, and you see Hawkman and Dr. Fate coming in, and they think, should we have called him? Like, I don't care what was going on. We're not calling him. And there you go. And then you see, like, you know, Cyclone and Atom Smasher, like, who's him? And they're like, what happened to the JSA? And you do the prequel movie and all that. Ah, wow, I just fixed it. Okay, there we go. I've been meaning to do that for this most recent couple of DC arcs, but whatever. Ultimately, this entire thing was unnecessary. Total waste of time in one aspect. It was nice to see characters that you liked. Like, this is no shade to the actors. I think they did a great job with the material they were given, and as an idea, they work. But I can't buy the idea of the JSA basically going to kill a dude who hasn't done anything before he might do in a country that is being run by criminals. Like, their priorities are all over the place here. That is not the JSA. Either they would go to stop Intergang, or they wouldn't go at all. It's like, no, no. Or they're like, look, we will talk to Black Adam. That is it. We're not going to clean up we're not going to clean up a mess that hasn't happened yet. All right? Yeah, that was weird. I'm thirsty. I got a frosty. So next is Batman Beyond the White Knight by Sean the Goat Gordon Murphy. Alright, so this, I believe, is the final one, because the next one's going to be something involving Jackie and, you know, other stuff. But what's cool about this one is it's less complicated than his Curse of the White Knight. Curse of the White Knight sort of went all over the place with his actual reveal and whatnot. This story is pretty straightforward. So, our loyal group of chuckleheads are going in to take down Derek Powers. And we've got people on different fronts, and we see some good dynamics. We see Jason and Dick arguing like siblings. We see Batman, we see Bruce and Harley going in on one end, and we see Terry and Jack going in on another end to attack Derek Powers. And really, this story is pretty straightforward. It's really just a lot of different plot points coming together. We see Harley and Bruce sort of being cute together, being adorable in their own way. We see Bruce having what appears to be his last panic attack, and him sort of realizing exactly what Batman was for him. What it was a way for him to sort of cope with everything. And what I like about it is it's not saying that he needs Batman, but in these sort of high tense situations, Bruce Wayne can't handle it. He's been so much time rejecting that idea that it's very fortunate that Harley brought the Batman cowl, sort of help him sort of disassociate, because he wants very much to be Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne can't do this. Bruce has spent his entire life building up this sort of disconnection, this sort of separate persona, that no matter how much he wants to try to bring those two together, he's done it for so long that I don't think it works out. He has to embrace Batman, not just the fact that, yeah, I did some messed up stuff and maybe I did more harm than good. He also has to acknowledge he did some good, all right, and that there is some good to Batman. That it's not just a failed experiment. It's so much more than just Bruce's mistakes. Oh wow, it's like a better take on The Last Jedi. They get everything is a better take on The Last Jedi. So anyway, meanwhile, Jack and Terry meet Derek Powers, and Jack does an old villain turn around like, hey, Derek, join me. Let me join with you, and we'll take him out. And they're like, gotcha. And yeah, actually, Jack is becoming very Joker in this. He's having way too much fun with all the chaos. But a really cool scene here that I want to talk about is when Derek is, lying down like, Terry, kill me, I won't stop. I don't want to see the invasion that's coming. all right, kill me and fix the mistakes of Batman. Be the better Batman. And Terry's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to. First of all, you killed my dad, so I don't have any reason to listen to you, you ass. And second of all, Batman doesn't kill. And Derek's like, you have to be a better Batman. You have to do the better job. Like, I don't have to be a better Batman, because I'm Batman. I'm like, all right. I don't know where you're going to go with this, but, that was cool. That was cool. That was cool. And then Jack saves Jackie, and they have a good father-daughter moment. It's gotta suck to be Bryce in this story, because you just don't matter. Like, all you got to do was talk to Uncle Bruce. Jackie gets to do both. She even gets a little character arc, which is sort of weird, and apparently she's gonna get her own one-shot. So everything's said and done. Powers is on his way to prison and whatnot, and the question is like, so are you done with Batman? He's like, well, I don't think I'll ever be done with Batman. But Batman's bigger than me. He belongs to all of us. And Bruce and Harley hold hands and walk off into, well, it's not the sunset because it's Gotham City. They walk off into the darkness. But then they're met by the FBI. And the FBI is Diana Prince and Jon Stewart. I'm like, okay, I see this. I see this. Okay. So I'm going more dignified in my head. So anyway, like, so that's cute and all, Mr. Wayne, but you're still Gotham's #1 criminal. Yeah, ignoring what Derek Powers did. So you still have to serve out your sentence. But I'll tell you what, you help us out with this invasion Derek Powers was talking about, all right? And we'll consider this like, time served. Like, you help us out, it'll count. So he's like, oh, okay. I guess I don't want to go back to jail. So what are we looking at? What are we looking at here? Well, some young dude from Kansas. I'm like, what? Superman? Or, well, it is Superman. Is it young Superman? Weird. But, so, yeah, that's how this ends. So we're introducing Superman. There is a final, at the end of this, Sean Gordon Murphy talks about what he's doing next. He's expanding the Murphyverse to a sort of Justice League story. So the question is, what is this invasion? It seems like they think Superman is part of the invasion because they don't know anything about him, and the FBI wants to investigate and possibly stop Superman. I'm guessing there's a Kryptonian invasion coming. General Zod. Okay, I like it. All right, someone's got to do Zod right. Granted, I think Snyder's take on Zod was, I think it was all right. I think it was all right. I'm not like I'm a Zod scholar anyway. But yeah, so once again, Sean the Goat Gordon Murphy has... He did good. So if this is the end of it, I think he really should have found a better middle ground toward... Actually, let's be honest, I just want to see Bruce and Harley kiss. That's it. Like, legit, no Jack, no Joker, no outside, like, dude, we know you love her. Like, no, just do it. Maybe that'll be next story. Who knows? Ultimately, though, I think this story was all right. I'd have to look at Curse of the White Knight again to really get my feelings on how these stories have stood up, because I have not had the time to read the White Knight universe again. So who knows how I'll feel about it. This might be, I think in terms of ideas, I think this might be the biggest one. But I think that's the problem. It doesn't do a lot with it. Like, there's not much interaction between Terry and Bruce, but there is a lot of interaction between... Dick and Jason and Gon and Barbara. And I think that's really what Beyond the White Knight is. I think really it's beyond Batman and the White Knight, if you think about it. Because this is really the impact that the Joker and Batman's back and forth has had. Like, you can look at it and look what it's done to Harley and what that legacy has done to Jackie and Bryce, as well as Derek Powers and the rest of the Bat family. As well as the same thing was with Batman and how it's affected all those people. So I think that does sort of work in one aspect. The one-shots I think were all right. It's a shame that Duke Thomas still didn't get one. Or Babs, really. They didn't get one either. I would have liked to have seen how it really was for Jackie and Bryce growing up, because they mentioned that there were some problems because, everyone knows who their parents are. So that does suck. But ultimately, though, still good time. Still fun. I look forward to seeing what else he's going to come out with this next one. This actually, I think, it might be the best thing Black Label has. Finally, we have Batman 132. And honestly, this one's pretty straightforward. So, the best thing about this story, I think, is really just seeing the different players here. So Alfred and Leslie Tompkins finally got married in some universe. That's great. I remember the animated series universe. Was it her? No, it wasn't. In the animated universe, there was this one girl that just kept like hitting on Alfred, and it was so weird and so hilarious. But this one here just sort of shows that Alfred hasn't been the same since whatever happened to Bruce Wayne happened to Bruce Wayne. You know, he's got all this money, but he has no job. He has no real career. Leslie, however, is still able to do more. She's a doctor in Gotham, and doctors in Gotham do not last long. I wonder why. And we see Bruce is like he's being Batman, sort of going through seeing exactly the state of this new Gotham City, and he realizes it's kind of terrible. And the girl Jewel has really tried to, bring some semblance of normalcy to Gotham City. And, because, that's how she gets through the day, gets through what she's had to suffer through. And meanwhile, we see the Red Mask going through interrogating Harvey over what's going on and his little incident there. And you sort of see a Gotham City that is somehow a bigger perversion of itself than Gotham City normally is. You've got criminals you've got people who saying they're the good guys, who have basically become fascist thugs, aka the bad guys, in sort of the worst way possible. It's sort of weird that way. Meanwhile, Bruce is trying to find a way to get back to his Earth. Is like, okay, so the best to do it might be to go to a wealthy person's gala with the man in charge here, with the big scientific mind. So he goes there, infiltrating, and he blends in. He meets a Selina Kyle, and he's like, oh hell, this woman is always stressing me out, and every universe is just looking so good doing. He's like, not my Selina, but hey, what happens in a parallel Earth with a parallel Selina doesn't count, alright? No, it wasn't me, baby. Also, if you cheat, I don't know, it's like weird. Like, do you want to tell your wife / not wife that you cheated on her with a parallel version of herself? Like, I don't know. How does that work out? Granted, Selina's been sleeping with some other dude, so, whatever. If all Bruce is going to do is sleep with another version of her, he's still doing better. Anyway, so they dance, they flirt, they talk, boop, boop, ba-doop. And a really cool thing is they meet the man of the hour, and it looks just like the Joker. Bruce is like, I know that face structure. I know that smile. Oh my God, that dude's supposed to be the Joker. He's like, I gots to go. Selina's like, we know who you are. I'm like, how do you know? And so he's got to fight his way through. Punchline is still here, still hiding in Big Joker's pocket. And so he's got to fight his way out. And then, on his way out, he sees Alfred's like, oh hell. Alfred's like, oh, that's Bruce. I'm like, so when did Bruce die? Or is he thinking he's Thomas? I don't know, but Bruce is like, oh crap, it's Alfred. Not my Alfred. I might take this one though. Can I take this one home? Don't do that. Do not take an Alfred from another Earth and bring him to the main one. That doesn't fix the problem. Oh, it's gonna be so bad. Don't do that. But anyway, he falls down. He mentions the fact, like, dude, I survived a fall from space that everyone kind of hates. I can survive a fall from a tower. So he's able to get up and he's like, this city's terrible. Why is it so terrible? The police are just a fascist thugs going around under orders of my sometimes best friend Harvey Dent, who was on Venom. So he's a fusion of Two-Face and Bane. I have a skeleton Jim Gordon following me around. I've got this black kid, Jewel, whose parents have been murdered, clearly wants to be a Robin, but doesn't know what a Robin is. There's an Alfred here that doesn't have a Bruce Wayne or an Alfred. There's a Selina Kyle that is only slightly stressing me out more than the other one. I get it. This is an Earth without Batman. This is a Gotham City without Batman. Never before have I felt more justified. So yeah. As Bruce fights off some GCPD and tackles him to the ground and gives him the old business, he sits in his chair. He sits down on the ground and sees the bat going, yes, I shall become a bat. And that's how that ends. So ultimately, Batman 132 is not that interesting, really. I mean, so I get the premise here, like, but so apparently Failsafe sends Bruce to an Earth that doesn't have a Batman. Why? Is this so Bruce can sort of reconnect with what Batman means? It feels like this story should have come earlier. That's not Zdarsky's fault. That is sort of the fault of the direction that Batman's been taking since DC Rebirth started. It's interesting when you think about it. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman started off DC Rebirth with some of the strongest books ever. And now they're just sort of like waddling around. Well, Batman started to stumble because Tom King sort of, I think, took on a project that he wasn't really fitted for. I've talked with people who do like his work, and they sort of agreed he works better with 12, 24 issue stories. Him trying an 80-plus issue epic was just not up to snuff for him. I think it was out of his wheelhouse. Wonder Woman lost steam when Greg Rucka left. He shouldn't have left after 30 issues, when all he did was like, I've reset the status quo of Wonder Woman. And all I've really done is have her back with Steve Trevor and reveal that the Amazons we saw weren't the Amazons. Yeah, so weird. And Superman, which had great steam in both his main book and Action Comics, lost steam when Brian Michael Bendis took over both books. Now, to be fair, Superman is back on track with Philip Kennedy Johnson. I'm looking forward to reading his new Superman book. And you could argue that Zdarsky is sort of trying to tell a story that should have been told earlier in Batman, but I think it's a story that has to be reevaluated, because I think in a lot of ways, since Tom King left the book early, whether you like it or hate it, he should have stayed on the main book and finished the story, because his Batman Catwoman is kind of ass. He really sort of left a broken Batman. Even when he gave it the ending where he still has Catwoman, still a broken, and then Tynion came in with his big, gigantic stories where he's just really giving Batman the business, but there's never a real moment that feels like he's trying to connect. And then Bruce loses money. It's interesting to think of how fractured and broken DC was at that time, and still kind of is, trying to build itself up. Ultimately, though, this story is fine. It's not great, but I think next issue is going to be when we really sort of pick it up, because now all the pieces are in place. We see this alternate Earth, we see an Alfred, we see a Harvey Dent, we see a potential Robin, we see a Catwoman, we see all the pieces we need to really tell the story, and I think that's why. Because the Failsafe story, the Failsafe arc, I felt was really good, was really fun, and now we had to take that little lull to sort of get our new bearings in this new Earth, this new reality for Bruce. Now the question is, how's he going to get home, and will that guy that clearly was the Joker on another Earth become the Joker? Who knows? Actually, if that's true, if Bruce becoming Batman leads to a domino set of events where that man becomes the Joker, then I'm going to be pissed, because I've been saying for the longest time that Batman did not create the Joker. Yeah. So anyway, with that in mind, I've wasted enough of your time. My Frosty is starting to melt faster than I'd like. So we're going to bring this video to close. If you are new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.